Time versus money, two important things to consider when making business decisions. But which is more important, time or money? I think we can all agree that time is precious. As a matter of fact, it's considered the most valuable commodity. We can make another dollar, but we can't make another second, another minute, or another hour. That's why it's time to stop. Stop wasting our time. Let's face it, trying to support 170 offices in 12 different states can be expensive and seem kind of daunting. It's impossible to touch every office individually and still make them feel special. It's time for us to start tapping into technology. I know we've talked about it in the past, but let me point out a few things. Here's my theme song, and there I go, driving off for 2 or 3 days to meet with 3 or 4 offices, to have as much impact as possible and to try to create the results that we desire. And the thing is, I know I'm not alone. We offer so much support out in the field, but we only have so many people to touch so many offices. Having all of our subject matter experts driving around to these destinations is obviously not good use of their time either. We then try to multitask, having conference calls out of our car and getting as much done as we can. But let's face it, that's not safe for anybody. We need to keep our employees top of mind as well. We know that if we keep our employees away from their families, there is a much greater possibility of them suffering from burnout. We've seen it happen. And the fact of the matter is we spend way too much money and time trying to get people trained back up to the level of the employee that we lost. Now I got to tell you, I love that we're using Zoom. It's great because it's on the go, right? And so we can join a meeting. Sometimes you can only call in. Other times you can use your iPad or your laptop. You can see the people that you're working with, and this has really helped out tremendously when we're talking about our meetings, where oftentimes we would have had to drive to Minneapolis to the support center to have these face-to-face meetings, but instead we get to have them from the comfort of our home office, which is great. I've also utilized this in being able to talk with a couple hygienists at a time. And with the ability to share your screen, it's like having people right at your presentation. We definitely need to tap into this more, but let's talk about our presentation. Now, we have taken some time and created PowerPoint programs that we house on an internet program where we can assign them to our office employees for viewing and educational purposes. Please let me share with you that I've learned a thing or two about creating successful, engaging presentations over the last few weeks, and I am happy to say I've seen the error of my ways. Here is an example of a slide that I made on a PowerPoint. Now, PowerPoint is not the enemy, but what we do with PowerPoint is. If you'll notice, there are many words and many bullet points on this slide. Though in my mind I was getting an engagement like this in the offices, the reality was probably much more like this. When you're reading to your audience, you are selling them short. We should be using eye-catching pictures instead and talking about our bullet points. Let's give our audience handouts and have them write down their takeaway points. Use short phrases and imagery to convert your meaning versus long sentences and bullet points. Here's an example of a slide that I have converted, which explains how you connect the what to the why for the patient in treatment case presentation. Many of us subject matter experts who created these PowerPoints forgot a very important cardinal rule. It's not about us as presenters. That's right, not about the presenter at all. It's about the people that we're presenting to. That's right, our audience. After all, if we aren't engaging them, what good is our presentation? We need to treat our audience like they're the king. Ah yes, here's another example of one of my slides from that very same presentation. Look at all of those words on that slide. Look at all of those bullet points. Yet another redo for me, and I can only imagine that my audience's participation was similar to this. I'm so glad that I was able to learn so much in this class to be able to share with you. This is the slide that I replaced it with. talked about setting the stage, and then took all of my talking points and just used them more conversationally. And as I was doing this, I noticed that many of my audience participants were jotting down notes. Not only jotting down notes, but adding some of their own comments. I had more participation in this presentation than any other time I've presented this very program. Now I know we talked briefly in the past about Camtasia, but let me tell you, the more I use it, the more I love it. This program allows you to add sound effects, add motion, add vibrant pictures, and create a really awesome presentation that I think can definitely capture more of our target audience. So had I had a little bit more time to get ready for this presentation, maybe I could have jazzed it up by using a moving title page. Let me share my screen with you for a moment to show you how user-friendly Camtasia can be. You import your media and it goes onto tracks, one track over the other track, and just for your information, the higher number tracks would show up over the lower number tracks. And then when you want to come through and import your media, what you would do is go ahead and click on the import media, and then you can see here's some pictures here. You can click on those, hit open, and then they will show up in your clip bin. And when you want to use something from your clip bin, you just have to double click on it, or you can go ahead and select it and hit add to timeline at playhead, and then it will actually do that for you. Once it's on there, you can edit the picture. You can also move it around, put it anywhere on the slide of which you put to place it on. From that point, there's other things that you can also do to make it look more professional. There's a bunch of transitional things that you can try out to give it that professional feel to it. So that's always good. And once you add it, then you can just hit play and preview and you'll see what it's doing. There's also in the library animated titles and simple titles. So here's an example of an animated title if that's something you wish to incorporate in your presentation. Also call out banners where you would click on those and then they come over the top of a slide or presentation. There's also audio things that you can add to and change that, and as well as zooming in, panning out abilities. So once you click on that feature, you can make some special effects on your slides and create some attention in those areas. Once you're done with that, you know, when you're ready to produce, you just have to click the arrow, produce and share. You can go right to YouTube if you choose, but it's pretty cool. So you know, it's something to think about. I don't think that there would be a lot of time and effort having to put into training this, because ultimately I learned a lot of what I did today from YouTube, and I think that is a great learning tool. Second Life is another program. I think it's something that I'm just starting to scratch the surface of. And basically what it is you creating an avatar that looks like yourself, and then you can go into this virtual world. Didn't seem very appealing to me at first, but honestly, it's something that they're utilizing from training perspective. So I'm thinking, you know, this might be something that we could use in different arenas, like our front desk, training verbiage, simulation from IT, things like that. So, you know, though I don't know this as much as I would like to, I'm still learning about it, and I think that it's worth a second look. Honestly, there are many programs that could give us better presentations. I propose we have somebody look into Second Life a little bit further while we focus on using PowerPoint and Camtasia efficiently for our presentations going forward. Focusing on slides that contain pictures and phrases, no more bullet pointing people to death. Let's focus on imagery that is impactful, imagery that we can move. Remember, our audience is king. Let's keep them engaged, then we'll have a better outcome. Let's hopefully maintain our field employees by keeping them happier because they get to stay home more but still have effective touch points. This will bring travel expenses down and also recruitment expenses for field employees. And hopefully with more effective programs, we can get more engagement and get the results we desire from the office level. I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited to get this rolling. Thank you so much for your time.